Hello everyone and welcome back to Red Shoe Lounge with Louise and Mara.
Louise, hello.
Right, we're not actually quite sure. For those of you watching this on YouTube, I'm using a different device to record on, so we have no idea what it's going to look like for you at this present moment. Let's just hope you can see someone or one of us. That would be a good start. So we wanted to kind of dig a little bit deeper on something we talked about last month. Last month, we talked about what to do when you want to throw in the towel. And Mara actually came up with the idea of talking about what happens when it's deeper than that. What happens when there is a darkness that isn't just around, oh my God, I ate a packet of biscuits when I'm supposed to be on a diet. Or, oh my God, I didn't read my personal development book. My coach, i.e. Louise, is going to kill me. Something that it's deeper than that. It's darker than that. And we need to dig in and we need to kind of get ourselves out. And we decided to talk about naming that word resilience. So what do we need to do when we need to really find resilience so that we can get through the much harder times? And those hard times can be if we say lose a loved one, which I experienced quite recently, or when your kids leave home and go to college and that's a huge, great big life change, or any other experience where suddenly something's out of your control and the only thing you have control on is how you deal with that said thing.
Yeah. Well, and I wanted to talk about it because I kind of had some devastating news last week that really put me in a bad place. And I felt like I was like really in a dark place for a couple of days. And everything that I'm learning and everything that I'm doing to grow my spirit tells me that I can't stay in that place. Mm-hmm. And then the longer I stay in that place, nothing great is going to come out of that, right? So not only do you feel shit,
true.
I question, what am I manifesting while I'm doing this? Because my feelings will only grow more and more intense and get more of what I don't want and why I'm feeling shit to begin with. So then for me, it turns me into another spin, like, oh, look what the fuck I'm doing now. Now I'm just now am I not only ruined or had this news that is something that I really don't want to hear, but now I'm going to make it worse, but I really felt for me, because I am, and we talked about this when we talked earlier, because I am on this journey that I'm on, I feel like I never let myself really feel those sad, bad moments. So for me, I really just needed to feel it. I really just needed to cry it out. I really just needed to wallow for a while and just be fucking pissed off about it.
And that's the mic drop of the session. So let's just end it now, because there's nothing else to say. No, I think what you said there is really, really important. And certainly coming from me, who's a ruler archetype, like we just keep pushing all the time. And I know that for myself, that only ever results in usually every 3 to 4 months kind of like getting sick. Right, and not just a little bit sick, like being in bed wiped out for 4 or 5 days sick. So touch wood, hasn't happened for a very long time, but that was my pattern before. So what you just said there, Mara, around like we have to allow ourselves to feel these things, I think is a really important thing to talk about, because although we're going to go into resilience and ask ourselves, how can we navigate that? And you're going to give us some clues about what you did and what we come up with when we talked. But at the end of the day, we are these spiritual beings in a human body, and we are taking information from around us all the time. And there are going to be things that hurt like hell. That's like trying to say to somebody, if you lose somebody that you love, okay, you're going to be fine tomorrow, right? Your world will never be the same. You're never going to be able to physically kiss them, hold them, smell them, talk to them ever again, but you'll be fine tomorrow. Or when you've built something up in your business, and it might feel inconsequential to somebody who has a job, but in a business, if you spent a lot of time launching something and you sell to crickets, right, that can really hurt. Or for all those of you that have been on a fitness regime and you've worked your ass off for 2 weeks and you've done what your trainer said and and you get on the scales and you've put on weight, right? Now, so it's not for us to sort of determine the level at which somebody should start to say, okay, it's okay for me to feel fucked off now. It's okay for me to go sit in my bed and watch reruns of Sex and the City or whatever it is that you do. But, you had some, news that wasn't great by any stretch of the imagination. I think it was really courageous of you to say, I just needed to be pissed off. I just needed to cry about it and get cross about it. And that led us on to actually what happens when we keep suppressing these emotions. Right? We all know that the manifestation of physical dis-ease primarily originates from suppressed emotion, not saying what we want, not being our true selves, living sort of something that doesn't deserve us. So I'd love for you to kind of share that aspect that we talked about, where we have to accept that we have these perceived shadow aspects of ourselves that we might want to come across as strong. You and I want to be inspirational, motivational for the people that we're serving, but at the end of the day, it's important to say we are going to have emotions that are on the opposite side of that scale. We're going to experience anger and jealousy and envy and greed and all those things. They're going to come up, people, because it's a shadow aspect of yourself. But there's always a positive learning from a shadow aspect, and we only bury them because we've been told that's what we should do. So can you just kind of share that you was in that space and you was feeling dark and you was feeling, did we discuss that you kind of felt like you might have gone back a few years in time in terms of how much you developed, and that was a bit scary, right?
Right, exactly, because you feel like, and what you said just there too about like I like suppressing and not feeling, because we as business women or women who are trying to grow businesses or grow spiritually, emotionally, just trying to live a better life. Sometimes you feel like you have to always put that 1 foot forward to inspire people. But at the same time, I have found that when I share the difficult times, and it's sharing how you got through it as well, not just, oh yeah, I felt like shit and I just, whatever. How did you get through it? And then when you're feeling, okay, sorry, my mind is going in 100 different directions right now. So, trying to gather all those thoughts. So what you had asked me was, how do I deal with that shadow aspect? Okay. So for me, I question myself, okay, you're feeling this way. Why are you feeling this way? And then let's work through that aspect. If I'm feeling jealous, why am I feeling jealous? What is it about that thing that I'm reading, watching, looking at, experiencing that makes me feel jealous? What is it about me that I need to improve in order to get that done? Okay.
Love that. I just got to stop you there. Sorry, because that's a little mic drop right there. Right. What I have to improve about myself to get there. Right. Completely off tangent. But that's a really, really important fact for anybody that's listening, because when I did shadow work, I think, Mara, you know this story. So one of the first times I ever did shadow work, and I'd read Debbie Ford's Dark Side of the Light Chasers book, which you and I love. And I'd done the bus exercise, and I met Jazz Jealousy. And it was the mask. And, and basically he was just saying, when you're jealous, it's like guideposts pointing you towards your next goal. Right? We're just showing you what it is that you want, because perhaps you're not really seeing what you want because you're blinkered by what you think you can have. And so we're saying to you, there is something about that thing that you want, whether it's the freedom or the abundance or the status symbol or whatever it is, you want that thing. But in that moment, I have to decide, like you've just said, what do I need to change or improve about myself to get me on that bloody pathway in alignment with that thing that I want, instead of being a pissy pants and moaning about the fact that I don't have that thing. Sorry,
right.
I just had to
but
share
you really do have to pick yourself up and go, okay, it's time to stop being a pissy pants. What is it that I really want? So even when I was in, 2 days, what I like to call my dark space, you know, third day in, I'm like, all right, it's time to pick up your big girl fucking pants and move on and stop feeling this way. And what do you need to do to make the change? But I really just wanted to wallow in it. And I didn't want, and we're going to dive into this a little bit, but I didn't want anybody's help. I didn't want anybody to try to make me feel better. I just wanted to fucking feel it. And I just wanted to do it, knowing in the back of my mind this whole time, thinking to myself, okay, how long are you going to do this? You need to snap out of this. How long are you going to do this? And they're just trying to help you, and they're just trying to be kind, and all the wonderful words that people can share with you and all the wonderful things that they can say to you. And they're only just doing it to feel better, because I know I would do the same thing.
Yeah, because we're in that space like, oh shit, because we know there is nothing that we can possibly say in that moment that's going to help someone feel better. Nothing, right? Unless, oh, here's the answer to that problem that you just had. Like, I can bring people back from the dead, or I can make you lose 10 stone overnight. And I don't know anybody that can do that yet. And if
are you going to drop about $150,000 in my lap? Please do.
Well, you know what? When we're on Oprah and Ellen, we'll be fucking passing the checks around. But what I want to sort of say there is, when we discuss this, and Mara and I had a really heartfelt conversation about the vulnerability around this, the reason why Mara wanted to particularly talk about it. So I think we should honour Mara for sharing the fact that she's going through this not very nice space, and that actually friends sometimes with the best intention, there is something that we do called in high performance, that the intention isn't always the impact. So whilst the intention was, I want to help you, the impact landed with Mara, like, if you say that again, I'm going to punch you in the fucking face.
but I really did I loved it though. At the same time, I know that it was heartfelt and people were concerned, and they
absolutely
genuinely really wanted me to feel better and know that they were there for me no matter what. So I know that it comes from a place of being genuine, but I know I'm also not alone when sometimes you just want to say, shut the fuck up, leave me alone, and let me wallow, and I'll be back.
Yeah, exactly. Like, just putting like do not disturb on the outside of your hotel door. Just like, don't change the sheets, don't come in. I'm going to wait here until the sheets smell, and then I'm going to let you come in and change them.
Right. And, I'm not talking about a full out. I wanted to make this very clear too. Full out, somebody who's been clinically depressed, who really does need help. I mean, that's a totally different subject all own. Feeling moments of depression, but being clinically depressed are two totally different things. But it's hard for me, it's not hard. Sometimes it's challenging to find the balance between being positive all the time, but yet wanting to feel when you're sad or angry about something.
Absolutely. So, and I mean, I think when we discussed this before, we actually put down, like, you have to become a student of the suck.
Yeah.
Do not confuse that hashtag with the session that's coming next, your next podcast episode. We do not want to mix those hashtags up, and you'll find out why the next episode. But
I love that.
But anywho, like,
and I giggle because I know.
But at the end of the day, you do have to learn from those places, and I know that your learnings have instigated all kinds of you haven't got an outcome yet, right? But you shifted into, I can sit here and be wallowing and get nowhere, or I can start to make those changes and still feel a bit crappy, right? Let's face it, you're not going to feel great right now, but you start to learn who you need to be, what you need to do, what steps can you control. And that's the only thing you can do in those moments until you start to gain that momentum back. So we, like Mara said, we're not belittling clinical depression, and I've been on antidepressants in my lifetime a couple of times, so I know what that's like. But I have to say, at the same time, if I knew then what I know now, famous last words, I would have been in a very different space. So we just want to kind of give you that. Now, we want to talk to you briefly about, like Mara's kind of touched on it, but we talked about those well-meaning friends. And it's a little, again, it comes down to, like, if you lose somebody and they go, well, I remember when I lost my mum, dad, aunt, uncle, pet, whatever. And you're like, I don't actually give a shit right now, because right now I'm grieving. So could you just keep your story to yourself? But instead you nod politely and go, oh, it must have been so hard for you. And And in your head, you've got a picture of you just like smashing them. So we know that the friends mean well. We know it's very difficult to have that conversation, like, what do we want? But can you tell us, like, how you ended up getting around that? Like, what did you say to your friends so that you was back in control and you didn't feel like you was reacting to what was being said?
Well, I just reassured them that I was going to be okay, that I was just feeling heartbroken and a little lost, and I didn't know what to do. And I basically just let them know I was going to be okay. And then when I really kind of felt okay enough, I still just said, listen, I'm not going to talk about it because I'm not going to give it any more negative energy. Like, it's time for me to rise up from this. So when I have good news, I'll share that with you. And until then, we're going to talk about 100 other things. And, they totally understood that, which is,
I love that.
Very cool. And so we talk about 100 other things. And when I have good news to share, I'll share it. But I really just don't want to give it any more of that feeling angry about it, or any more feeling lost or dark about that situation. So until I have more to share, then I remembered some training that I'm in right now that said, when you're feeling really sad, or you're feeling really mad or angry about something that you feel like you can't control, that's the time when you need to reach deep down. I do gratitude every day. But when you're feeling worse, when you don't want to, that's the time you reach deep down and you find even more things to be grateful for. So I had to make a list of, I didn't have to, I chose to make a list of 100 things that I was grateful for versus just the 10 that I do every day.
I love that.
And then you start thinking, and it just starts expanding. It's like, okay, well, what I'm dealing with really isn't that bad, because there are much worse things. And I've got 100 things to be grateful for.
I love that. And I know every development book you'll read will talk to you about gratitude. I talk about gratitude being in the energy of receiving, because we can't be attracting more from a great space if we can't be grateful for what we've got, right? Particularly if we find that we are constantly moving the goalpost of achievement. So I'm going to feel happy, joyful, contented when I have blah blah blah. Ooh, I've got blah blah blah, still don't feel that great, I'm going to move those goalposts a little bit more. And it's human nature, and we've discussed this. I think it's very, very common for women in business, because we're fighting generations of belief systems where, oh, hey, look, you had a vagina, let's give you children, and then make you feel like you've lost your life. And then 20 years later, when your kid's grown up, ooh, what am I here for? Oh, I don't know. I had a vagina. So that was my mission statement for my life.
Gosh, I think you just described the Red Shoe Lounge.
Yeah. Hashtag, okay, I know I've got a vagina.
Ooh,
again, not for next week's podcast thing. We should definitely do that. Okay, I've got a vagina. And I think it's, we've got these extremely powerful generational belief systems about the fact that we should be maternal, we should want to bring our kids up like this, we should be happy being at home and looking after our husbands, and yada yada yada. And so when we start to get on this journey, we may never experience that before, particularly if we haven't been in corporate. Like I've never been in a corporate job, in a corporate role. So when you're out and all of a sudden the money's on your head and everything that you do is relating back to the growth or non-growth of your business, holy mother of God, can that kind of create so much insecurity inside of you? But that could be like a whole year series on that one. So we talked about then that you felt stuck, and then you remember that training, like, just I know it's difficult, but be grateful. And one caveat I want to say to that is, if like me you grew up being told just be grateful for what you've got, and you replace the just with the only be grateful for what you've got, that's really, really bad advice. We want to be more Bob Proctor and be really grateful for what we have, but give me a shit ton more, please. Right? Because over and over again, I'm going to tell you, you make a bigger impact in the world when you've got a bigger income. It's as simple as that. I have to just quickly tell you about something that I read in the news the other night before I went to bed that kept me awake for hours, reading about some guy who's just bought the world's most expensive house at £256 million. He already, this is in New York, it's a penthouse. I thought a penthouse was one floor, but hey ho. He also has another property that's got 50 floors. 50 freaking floors, right? And my alchemist was going crazy, like, how many schools could we build? How many houses could we build for people that haven't got any homes? How many people could we educate? But anyway, that's just by the by. But, you know, I'm hoping that the ladies listening here, or maybe some men, if you was earning an extra £256 million and you had that rolling around in your pocket in spare change, you might go do something really good with that.
Well, you're
like
assuming that he isn't filling those 50 floors with people helping them.
Yeah, anywho. Right, so
he says no, he's fucking not.
So then I ask you again, like, what was that shift for you? What was the shift from the darkness, from the this is hell, I'm wallowing, da-da-da. And I said to you, how did you transition? And you said, can you remember the statement that you told me? You said kind of said one thing.
No.
You can't. You said, I just made the decision to pull myself out.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
that leads to everything's a decision, whether you put that hamburger in your mouth, whether you tell somebody you love them before they leave the door, even though you've had an argument in the morning. You know,
it's always a choice.
It's a choice. And it's as much as it's a choice to do, it's also a choice to not do. So if you choose to have another day laying around, you know, snorting pancakes or whatever and drinking coffee.
Well, and I did choose to wallow for 2 days, even though in the back of my mind, I'm saying to myself, you're making this choice. You're making this choice. This is your decision to wallow in this. And I'm like, fucking right it is. And I'm going to do it. Leave me alone.
Yeah. And I'm going to do it really, really well.
Yeah. Right. And so, but for me, it was okay because I hadn't given myself enough of that because I was working on always bringing positivity and always, which I think 100%, I still believe that I should do always as much as I possibly can. But I've also recognized that I also need to give myself a little bit of grace and allow myself to feel more of the yucky stuff, but then make the decision. How am I going to change that? What do I need to do to make that differently so that I don't have to feel like this? Because life sometimes will throw you a bunch of really shitty stuff. So how are you going to deal with it? How do you choose to move forward?
I like that. How do you choose to move forward? And I think, again, it leads, I'm just writing the notes down, it leads us back into that conversation of, you know, like if we suppress crying, like our throat burns, right? And it really, really hurts. And people that everybody knows one of these people that doesn't express themselves very much, or maybe didn't years and years and years ago, and they're always going, right? Or they go, they have, you know, sighs, but almost like they're not getting enough oxygen. Or they'll talk to you and it's like they've left half their voice inside. It just doesn't come through properly. So in order for us to do that, wallowing, I mean, maybe we could even reframe that and go, I'm just feeling today.
Ooh, I like that.
Right? I'm just going to feel the darkness today. And I'm going to invite the darkness in. And I'm going to ask it what it can teach me. Because I think from that darkness, we can grow an extreme strength. You know,
we can invite the darkness in and ask what it will teach you.
Yeah, ask what it will teach. Everything, it will teach you something, you know, and you've learned a shitload of lessons from yours that you're moving forward will benefit your life greatly. People, you know, the lessons in being correct, you know, people think about courage, certainly in the business sense, and they think about, oh, it's doing that big scary thing, it's doing the Facebook videos, or it's, you know, doubling your prices or whatever. But actually, the biggest courage comes from really expressing who you are and what your needs and desires and dreams are, and not just with your nearest and dearest or your girlfriend. Like some people can do it with their girlfriends, but they wouldn't dream of saying it to their husband. You know, actually, you should be able to say that to the whole goddamn world. You should be able to get on a live and go, oh, by the way, I'm out to change the world. Just putting that one out there. You know, and be totally okay with someone going freak, because right, just because you're gonna get it.
I just read though in the 5 a.m. club. What is that? The 5 rules.
Yeah.
One of them is about being a freak. Like
Yeah,
not telling somebody thinks you're a freak. Yeah.
Yeah, I've actually got the book up there, but I won't get up because I'll just trip my tripod over and everything. But there is something like, if you're not being called a freak, you're doing it wrong.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
And if you haven't read 5 a.m. Club yet, oh my God, please read it. Best book ever. Well, I say that for a lot of the books, but really is a fantastic book.
Yeah.
So yeah, feeling that darkness, and also, okay, so what I've just been given there is like, it may be that from that darkness, we need to go through a forgiveness ritual. You can do a ho'oponopono, you could write a letter to yourself, forgive yourself, forgive others. I was on a training day last week, and the teacher that was doing the training with me, she was given a really lovely statement. I don't want to do it disservice, so I will find it for the show notes, but it goes something like, I forgive you for not being the person I always needed you to be. And there's a little bit after that, but even that, I forgive you for not always being the person I needed you to be. When you turn it back on yourselves, oh, that's powerful, right?
Right.
Because again, if we knew then what we know now, we wouldn't have done what we've done to get us to where we are. We would have done something different, but we only knew what we knew.
Right.
And when you do that, you also ask that person to do the same for you. Will you forgive me for not always being the person that you needed me to be? And I think even just having that conversation with ourselves or with partners or with people that might be in this scenario with you is a very powerful thing. So when you're feeling that darkness, forgive yourself for how you might have got where you are. I don't think you need to forgive yourself for being, having a little pity party, because that's kind of saying that that's a weakness, and it's not a weakness. But certainly, if there's any forgiveness that needs to happen because you're like, I could have prevented this, or I wish I had said this before that person passed away, or any of those things, there definitely needs to be some forgiveness around that, I think.
I agree.
And yeah, that's quite a good thing. We totally didn't discuss that one when we got together to discuss what we were going to do with this.
We did not. I like it though.
I like it a lot. And so just kind of as we finish up on this one, if you're in that space there, I want to kind of just talk to you briefly about what resilience means in terms of high performance and success at your whole life. And resilience is being able to continue even when it feels like the odds are stacked, even when you can't see what's going to happen, or you don't, the outcome's not looking promising. So because let's face it, when things are going right, when your life is hunky-dory, rose-tinted glasses type stuff, like when you've just met your first boyfriend, or you're in a new relationship and you're at it like rabbits, and your toenails are painted and you've got no hair on your body whatsoever, and everything's, well, apart from your head, and everything's feeling fantastic. We're invincible in those moments. But you have the first argument, or you get the glimpse of their first bad habit, and you think, ooh, I don't really like that about them. Life's a little bit like that. We're constantly being tested, and resilience is about, how do I still continue to show up as my best selves when things on the outside just look like crap, and when I don't feel great. And for me, having resilience is one of the most important parts of you creating that life of success, because there's going to be so many times when you're going to be tested, from the weeny small things to not getting a like on your Facebook post, heaven forbid, right?
Or finding out somebody left your group. They've
the pain, Mara, the pain.
Or someone has said something nasty about you. Who does she think she is?
All that jazz. Right up to, like we said, those difficult times when it's like that. It's like crisis. Something happens outside of your control, and the only thing you have control of is how you then deal with that. So resilience is a key factor that will keep you functioning at your best self. And I think we've decided to say that part of that is gifting yourself time to grieve and to feel sad and to be pissed off and angry. And if you need to go throw plates, or get a pillow and a baseball bat, preferably with no human body underneath it, just a pillow and a baseball bat is a good place to be, I used to go to a field or drive my car around the country lanes with my windows open, and I would scream at the top of my voice until I couldn't scream anymore. Because if I didn't, I felt like I would actually explode. I might have looked like a crazy person, but it was beneficial to me to get all of that stuff out, rather than push all that stuff in. So I think it's about, you know, we're always figuring it out, like, how do I become this next person? You've learned a great deal from where you're at right now. And I, you know, we did cards after we had our chat, and your cards were uber positive. So I've got no doubt that this is all going to end up rosy and lovely, but we'll wait and see for the outcome. But
Yep. Thank you. I also feel the same. So
fabulous. So what we would like you to do is, we would just like to honor any of you that are in a tough struggle right now, or that you feel like sometimes your whole life is a struggle. And we would really urge you to reach out to somebody. And it might be like Mara, you might turn around and say, I just want to vent at you. I don't want you, especially if it's a bloke, I don't want you to fix it. I don't want you to find a different pathway for me. I just need you to hear me out. I may let you hug me. That will depend on my mood, right? Or I may just want you to make me cake and casserole. Tell somebody what you need from them, and sometimes it's just letting it out, so that you're not it's not all inside, but you've just alleviated some, a bit like a pressure cooker, like you just let some of that steam off. So we really urge you to do that. Urge you to dig into resilience, and that comes from, I think, connecting with your spirit and your soul, and understanding what, for me, what the truth of the universe is, and that we do manifest what we hold into our thoughts, but also that we're human and we're going to have these conflicting emotions sometimes. And like Mara said, she's been on this journey a long time, so the more you rehearse that, the easier it is, the shorter you stay in those little like wells of self-pity, and the quicker you come out. So our red shoe action for today, apart from to reach out to somebody if you're struggling, or to remember to reach out to somebody when you're having a moment, we would like you to let us know, and come over and either drop us a comment in the YouTube links. You can drop a comment underneath the podcast. You can also come over to our Facebook page, Red Shoe Lounge, and we want you to hashtag it Red Shoe Action. And you can even put it on your own page, why not, and share it around. Sure. But what do you do for friends? What do you do when you've got a friend that you know is stuck and you feel a little bit out of control? We want to know how you help your friends, how you reach out. And do they punch you in the face, or do they take it nicely? If you could share that with us on social media and hashtag it Red Shoe Action, we'd be uber grateful.
Very grateful. And remember, your life is your choice.